Can you tell who those individuals are that are up there in the rock? Hi everyone, welcome to Tigner Adventures. Hey, we are still in South Dakota, and if you can tell by the picture behind us, we are actually at Mount Rushmore today. This is Memorial Day weekend, and we are here to celebrate and see what they're doing to celebrate also. We have been here once before, back in 2018 when we very first took out our residency. We took it out in South Dakota. We later switched to Arizona, which ended up being a lot better deal for us, a lot cheaper. But this was a fun place to visit back then, except that it was March. And they still had snow on all the trails, and we couldn't actually do anything. So today we're going to actually get to do a little bowl. Yeah, it's a real nice sunny day. Yeah. Well, partly cloudy. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to take you along with us.
Okay, let's go.
So the monument is free to get into, but you do have to pay for parking. They have a very nice parking structure here. The best way to visit the monument is in an RV. Lots of RV parking, and we're going to be here all day, so it's nice to come and take a break. The cost is $10. Unless you're a senior, it's $5, and if you're a veteran, it's free. And that actually works for the whole year, so you only pay that fee one time for the year. And as we enter in through the structure here inside, you can see that right up there on top of the mountain is the actual monument. Down here it looks kind of small, but they are very, very big. And on the right here we have the information center and bookstore, and on the left we have the self-guided tour that you can get the little wand at. Take a peek inside here. We just have a little area here that is for the ranger, give you information that you might need, and over here is a small bookstore. This map right here has a number of places on it that you can go visit, and we've actually seen quite a few of those. We're just working our way down the list. All right, we've got our pamphlet and our little tool here for our self-guided tour. We're gonna check it out. What you do is as you walk around, there's actually on the map here places that have little stops, and so as you get there you just enter the number into the wand and it tells you all about what's going on. Now the cool thing is, I mean, it's $8 for the wand. They suggest that you get one per person, but you can just push the button again and it will repeat.
Since we're retired, we have all day.
So we're not in a hurry. So we're gonna just rent one wand and go around, and we're just gonna listen to each one of these stations. So it's all the way around. It's about an hour to hour and a half walk around, up at the bottom of the monument. We don't get all the way to the top, but I think once we get up there, we'll see how massive that is up there. So we are entering the Avenue of the Flags. You can see on the signs in front of us here, there's different gift shops, and food services are on the right, gift shops on the left. And over here on the right, that's in the middle here, the workers that worked on this monument from 1927 all the way up to 1941. Quite a few people involved. So these flags are from each one of the states and areas that have supported the monument. Every state is represented here. They're in alphabetical order. If we look over here to the left, we'll see Arizona listed right there. That's where we just came from this last winter. So, and here's Utah, where our children live. And it also has when the state was admitted to the Union. So each one of these is pretty cool. Like, they've redone this since the time we came back in 2018. It used to be pillars, and the states were on all, there'd be 4 on each pillar all the way down there, and the flags were hanging out on the pillars. So these pillars leading up to the Grand Terrace view of the Mount Rushmore, each side of them contain a different state. Now they have the same 4 states, but they're just laid out different. So it's kind of interesting how they actually changed that. So at this viewing area, we can get a really good view of the monument right up there in front of us. Can you tell who those individuals are that are up there in the rock? So starting on the left there, we have George Washington. Then we have Thomas Jefferson, Teddy Roosevelt, and Abe Lincoln. Look at how intricate that whole thing is, and you can see their eyes. It looks like they have a little gleam in their eye from the sun. I mean, it's just amazing how they actually did that. You look at Roosevelt up there, looks like he's wearing glasses. It is pretty amazing how much detail has been placed into this monument when they were carving it. This is the stop number 11, and it's actually starting of the Presidential Trail. So if we look here, this is what was closed when we were here the very first time, because there was still snow on the trail. But we're going to go right up underneath the monument. All right, so we are just meandering down this trail. There's stops all along here that we can listen to. And you can see right up there, we have a pretty good view of the monument. And we're going to sit down in this chair right here and just kind of look up there while we listen to the rest of our audio books here that we got to catch up on. So it's interesting that the American Indian, throughout history, this area, the Black Hills, was actually given to them in a treaty. And so then, unfortunately, in the 1800s, though, gold was found, and so the treaty was broken, and they were all moved to 7 different reservations. And then later, this monument was decided they were going to put it here, and so the American Indian was outraged with that and did not want that here. This is hollow ground to them. A lot of effort has been made to bridge the gaps and bring the different cultures back together again and include the American Indian in the monument here. And one thing with the monument itself, because it's made out of granite and it does snow here and freeze, there's a lot of cracks that have to be maintained. So the Park Service is monitoring the rock itself all the time because of the ice, build up on the cracks and things, that actually expands it and breaks it. So they have to go in there and seal it. They're sealing it now with silicone. But they have little instruments that are always monitoring it and keeping track of what's actually happening with the monument so that they can preserve it for generations forward to see. All right, we're going to go down in this little tunnel here and look up at the monument. So we are just looking up here. Oh, look. There we go. We can see George Washington. And then we can kind of see Lincoln over to the side a little bit. Wow. So the original design of the monument was going to be just George Washington and President Lincoln. And then as time went on and they kept talking about it, then other things factored into it. They added the other 2 presidents. Things were based on how much money they had and the influences that the other presidents had. So the interesting thing about the presidents, the reason that George Washington was one that was chosen was in some ways based on what he didn't do. He was the first president, and he only served the 2 years, and after that he turned down because of serving any longer or becoming the emperor. He was offered all this and he turned all that down because his vision was for a republic that was we the people and included everyone. It wasn't just all about him. President Lincoln, when he was president, he had the chore of the Civil War and against the South, and his big thing was abolishing slavery, and so that we all are equal and we should all be included in this nation, have all the same rights. Look at that nice view, looking straight up at the monument. And we can really see the glasses on President Roosevelt's face there. The different views, different angles of the monument. Amazing how they've done all this. When you look at the monument, Thomas Jefferson's got a little bit higher view. He's looking out over the area a little bit more. They said that that's kind of what gave him his place here too, is an enlightenment of what it would take to bring the nation together and make it everyone equal. And so he was included for the things that he did to bring that to pass. And President Roosevelt's inclusion on the mountain here was in part because of his vision for the country. His efforts on the Panama Canal made us a global nation. And also the Antiquities Act is what created a lot of the national parks and national monuments under his time as president. There were over 400 workers that worked on this, and it was over 500 steps to the top. And when they first started, it would take 30 minutes, but as time went on, they didn't get paid till they got to the top. So they got it down to 8 minutes, going up and down every day to work. Eventually, they had a tram that was used for taking the tools up to top, but it wasn't strong enough for men too. But later on, they revamped it and was able to take men up at the same time as the tools, and it would go up to the top of Teddy Roosevelt's head, is where that was actually at. When they started this project, they were actually looking for about 400 or so skilled labor. There wasn't any of those, a lot of those weren't available. This is during the Depression, so a lot of people were looking for work, and so they were like carpenters and things like that, but they weren't skilled at actually sculpturing a rock or things like that. So, you know, they used what they did, and by the time they were done, they were experts at it all. They were trained, but how would you like to be one of those workers, going up and down every day, hanging over the sides with jackhammers in your hands, trying to jackhammer out? About 90% of the sculpture was dynamited, and the rest of it was all done with jackhammers, different sizes for different amount of material that they wanted to take away as they were building the sculpture. This is the main visitor center, and this is where they have the different theaters. So here's Theater B right here. So we're going to go in and check out what the film's all about. Well, we just finished watching the film. It's a pretty interesting history of the whole setup. It's well worth seeing. It's this whole area is just magnificent, how they actually took care of it, and all the work and effort that went into it by not just one person, but lots of people. This is the exhibit hall. So we're just going to take a little look in here and see kind of what they have on display. It's kind of fun because they've got the equipment that was used when they were actually building this whole setup. Look at that. There's the sling that they would sit in, tie themselves in, and then they would sit there and use the jackhammer to break out different portions of the stone. Look, and this guy's gonna blow up the mountain. There he goes. So here is showcased each one of the presidents that's up on the mountain and what their contribution was to the United States and why they were chosen to be placed up there. So this is what the mountain looked like before they started. And now this is what it looks like. Pretty impressive. So this is the sculpture. His name is Gutzon Borglund. He was 58 when he started working on this project. So here's a picture of Borglund actually being lowered down to inspect his work. And the interesting thing is this same setup was used by all the individuals that worked on drilling. The difference was that they were packing around a 40 to 60 pound drill as they were lowered over the edge, and then they would drill the sides to be able to place the dynamite where it needed to be placed. The interesting thing is that during this whole production process, they never had one injury or death throughout the whole time on the mountain. All right, that finishes our little tour. There is so much here. You really need to plan to take at least a day to go through everything. Either a long day or multiple days to check things out. There's a lot to the monument. There's a lot of history here, and it's been eye-opening. If you actually, we'll put a link in our video description on a video that we did the first time we came here. We talked about the monument also, so there was a lot more details in that about some of the things that they have videos that talk all about it and everything. We went to a couple ranger programs, so lots of things going on at this monument.
Yeah, and Washington's nose is 20 feet.
Yeah, so you're looking up there and you're saying, well, they look kind of small. Well, his nose alone is 20 feet. And let's see, Lincoln's head is 60 or 80 feet tall, so it's pretty interesting how that works. And on their model, it was based on inches. So the model was 1 inch. For every 1 inch was 1 foot on the actual rock there. So that's was pretty cool. It's so amazing how artists could actually make that happen on the side of the mountain.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. And so anyway, it's been a lot of fun. So we've enjoyed it. Hopefully you do too. Any other things you want to make note out about this?
It's a pretty day. We enjoyed it.
Yeah, pretty day. So
Learned some things.
learned a lot of things. So, well, thanks for following us. Hopefully we'll see you down the road somewhere, and if not, it'll be on our next video. So take care.
Bye.